if you're a church across the country, just gather your congregation together and say, these are our brothers and sisters. It's our responsibility to intercede for them.
Right.
So I honestly think that's a huge difference maker. And we often jump to like, what can I do? And we forget. We could cry out to the one who can do much more than what we could do.
Hey, so we just came off the convocation stage with Tyler. Man, great job. God used you in a great way, I think, to speak into the life of our students. Thanks for being here. How has your experience been so far, being here at Convo? And I know you got to meet a lot of our students as well.
Yeah, it's been incredible. I've honestly never experienced hospitality like we've experienced here at Liberty so far. So it's been unbelievable. And I got to have some amazing chats with some of the students, especially a few of them that got beyond just like, hey, thanks for coming, but had sort of specific things to chat about a little bit. And that was really awesome. That was the most rewarding part of this morning.
God forbid another event like September 11th happens in New York City. Now that you've been a pastor there, what would be, and so it doesn't have to be as drastic as that, but what would be, you think, the role of the local body, the local church, when something like that happens?
Well, I would say the one thing I have gone through is that I went through Hurricane Sandy in New York, and I was living in Lower Manhattan at the time, and all of Manhattan below 34th Street, which definitely included me and the church, Trinity Grace Church in the East Village, where I was working at the time, lost power for a week. Most lost running water as well. And so that is my actual experience. And at Trinity Grace, we use the terminology of parish, which is typically a Catholic term. But the way that we define what a parish is a geographical area of spiritual responsibility. And I think that's a principle that every church should hold, that I exist in a geographical area over which I'm spiritually responsible.
Right.
So when a tragic event happens in this geographic area, it is my spiritual responsibility to care for those affected. It is my responsibility to extend the care of Jesus to those affected.
It's my burden. It's my God-given burden, yeah.
And so, for instance, when Hurricane Sandy happened, we felt like instead of leaving the city and going because we had options to go elsewhere and be comfortable until the city had recovered, it was actually our responsibility to be in the city with the people facing what they were facing and do what we could. And we got to see a really beautiful thing, and the lead pastor of that church of the East Village, Guy Wasco, is who was really championing it, and I was sort of along for the ride with him. But we set up a relief site that the NYPD let us set up on an outdoor basketball court, and it ended up becoming the largest relief site in New York City. And it started with he had a car. We drove his car to a grocery store above 34th that was open and bought all the loaves of bread they had left and gave them away. And somehow then people got wind of, there's people giving stuff away at this basketball court. And the Red Cross brought us supplies. All of these different people jumped in. Tons of other churches jumped in. And so I think it's something like that. I think it's just humbly and simply do what you can because it is your responsibility, and then ask God to make it into something that's actually meaningful as a recovery effort.
Tyler, as a pastor of a church in a Keystone City, like one of the great cities of the world, people see those cities and they're instantly intimidated by the idea of ministry in places like that. It just feels overwhelming. But yet at the same time, they're excited that God would call someone like you right into the middle of that. So I want to know if we are 1,000 miles away and we hear about a need in your city, whether it's, for example, a moment where there's a tragedy in your city, whether it's Las Vegas with the shooting, or whether it's, New York with like a 9/11 moment, or a hurricane or a tornado or something that comes in where the boots on the ground are the local people that are there, the local church that's there. How can someone like that, how can we come alongside of you in those kind of moments and help you build better inroads and build a better reputation for the long haul?
Yeah, I think a couple tangible things. One is there's always resources. I think the best way, even just in that relief site example, that people helped us was they got wind of what we were doing, and they sent huge truckloads full of supplies.
Right.
Because that's what we didn't have access to.
Right.
We had people, we had a location, we had a line that we couldn't serve everyone, but we needed the supplies. So that was the biggest thing.
Time and talent. You need treasure. Yeah.
Right. And then the other thing is just the most humble forms of service. You know, we also didn't need really people to come in and like tell us a better way to distribute the supplies or, you know, I don't know, anything like that. What we needed was people to come in and unload the truck and like set pallets on the ground. So I think supplies, the most humble form of service. And then I think the most underrated thing that people have never looked is just pray.
Yeah.
Like gather your congregation together and pray. You know, Nehemiah 1, everything Nehemiah does begins with this loving burden that leads him to pray because he hears of news of the Israelites who have returned home from exile and to find their homes and their temple destroyed. And he is so broken, he begins to pray. And then everything God does comes from that. And so I just think if you're a church across the country, just gather your congregation together and say, these are our brothers and sisters. It's our responsibility to intercede for them.
Right.
So I honestly think that's a huge difference maker. And we often jump to like, what can I do?
Right.
And we forget. We could cry out to the one who can do much more than what we could do.
Right. It's great practical advice. All right, man. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So Tyler, you wear your pants really, really high. You keep rolling them up.
Yeah.
Was there recently a flood in New York? Are we praying? Do we need to send the serve team to come and help with?
No, it's baseball season, and you know a lot of baseball players do the high sock thing. I just forgot the socks today.
Yeah.
I'll have them tonight for campus community. Actually,
that's amazing.
So, yeah.
We call those capri pants here in Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just call them pants in New York. But